This is E&P Reports, a vodcast from Editor and Publisher magazine, the authoritative voice of news media since 1884, serving newspapers, broadcast, digital, and all forms of news publishing.
Warm greetings once again, Mike Blinder, publisher, E&P Magazine. As always, we start off by urging those that listen to this program on podcast platforms to please participate. I'm doing alliteration this morning, and follow us. Those that are watching on our YouTube channel, please subscribe. That way, if you follow or subscribe, you get an update each and every time we upload this weekly vodcast series we dedicate to news publishing. We call E&P Reports. Gordon's 7th appearance. I promised you a jacket at 5, and I reneged and have to make up a jacket for you. You've been on the show 7 times. Welcome.
That's amazing. How time flies.
I've been on your show 3 times. So you're going to have to bring me back, and we'll see if we can do some equity. Anyway, you likely know this. We no longer, look at your bio on LinkedIn. We go to ChatGPT, the critical, accurate authority of all information far and wide, he said sarcastically, and asked ChatGPT who the hell you are. You rate it because it's changed since the last time. Here's what ChatGPT says about you. You're the founder and CEO of Borrell Associates, a leading firm specializing in local advertising research and analysis, recognized as a top industry analyst. He is frequently quoted in major publications like the Wall Street Journal, New York Times, Ad Age, and Forbes. Before establishing Borrell in 2001, you were VP of New Media at Landmark. That's when I knew you in the dark ages, and we both had darker hair and more of it. You are sought-after speaker on media trends. You've appeared on CNN. You reside in Hampton Roads, Virginia, with a wife, and you have 5 children. How did it do, A to F? Did it get you?
It did very well, but I have to tell you that you can program Alexa, which I have done, to answer certain questions certain ways. And you can't do this. It has to be on my account, of course. But if I said I'm talking low because Alexa is down there in my office, Alexa, who is Gordon Borrell? It would come back with, Gordon Borrell is the husband of well-known author Lucia Borrell, a former St. Pete Times, New York Times newspapers reporter, blah, blah, blah. So, yeah, all of those, nice things that ChatGPT said about me are overshadowed by, I think the biggest accomplishment is staying married to a wonderful wife and having beautiful children.
Yeah, mine should say that he is the publisher of E&P, where his wife does all the real work, and he just does stupid shows like this and interviews you. Anyway, beyond that, I got an email from you, and it looked personal because it said, "Hi, Mike," but then I realized it was when you sent out, teasing the fall study. We had a massive amount of reporting on your spring study. And now you're teasing. You actually have a webinar coming up, right, where you're going to release information to the industry about the fall advertiser study.
We do. It's coming up this week. It's on the 12th, which is Thursday at 11 a.m. And if you want to register for it, it's going to be great. This is our biggest webinar of the year. The year-end webinar where we're looking at next year, which is just basically a review with the advertisers, 1,000 advertisers just told us, is always our biggest. We'll probably have 700 or more people on it. Right now at this recording, we have a little over 500. Just go to the Borrell Facebook page or the Borrell LinkedIn page, or you can just go to the Borrell Associates website, and on the left side, you'll see a sign up for research alerts. Just sign up for research alerts and we'll notify you of the sign up for the webinar. 11 a.m. Right. Eastern, Thursday the 12th.
Yeah, so we're done, right? Because that's it. You came on here to plug
that's all there is to it.
We are not done, because E&P must be the first at releasing this information. So what we're going to do after this commercial break is we're going to try to get this guy to tell us what he's going to say in that webinar, so you hear it first. Stick around.
This episode of E&P Reports is exclusively sponsored by Blocks Digital, formerly Town News. Even though the name has changed, their commitment to the media industry is as strong as ever. Blocks Digital is now even better positioned to deliver integrated solutions like content management, audience development, advertising revenue, video management, and more. Join the over 2,000 news publishers worldwide that power their ongoing digital transformation with Blocks Digital, serving over 141 million monthly users who view over 6.5 billion pages of content each year. You can trust Blocks Digital to empower you, to connect you at scale with the community you need to reach. Blocks Digital, formerly Town News, now reimagined to help meet the news publishing challenges of tomorrow and beyond. Learn more at blocksdigital.com.
All right, Gordon. I mean, for those who live under a rock, Borrell Associates is a leading research agency in our industry. And I always joke whenever, what does Borrell do? Well, they don't look at audience, they look at advertising. They ask two questions. What are you buying? What do you plan to buy? Of course, it breaks it down a lot more than that. But it basically, what you're saying is, here's what happened, and here's what people say they're going to do when it comes to spending in media advertising. This is critical information. I don't know if you have any competitors that are as granular as you are. And many companies in our industry have shifted focus, and you have moved this industry in different directions over the last few decades because of this accurate information. This study we're about to try to get you to unpack a little of, 1,100 advertisers, 122 ad agencies, right? And you're uncovering just basically what they're spending. Do I have that correct, sir?
It is. We do it twice a year, and this is our fall or fourth quarter survey.
All right, so here, when we interviewed you in the spring, right after the spring survey, you spoke about local advertising was tracked to grow by 3.2% this year. How did we do? Are we on track? Did we grow by 3.2? Are we not at 3.2? Can you release that information to us?
Well, I believe there was some growth planned for this year. So the webinar is not out yet. And the webinar is not when we're going to release our new forecast. We might. Well, we might, because we are uploading it right now. We do have the numbers. Everything has to be tested out, and then we punch a button. So I can only give you a little bit of generalities. And we're doing this kind of live. We're doing it live right now, but people are going to listen to it, a few days later, recorded. I'm looking at the bottom of my screen because I'm asking Corey Elliott, my colleague who sits atop all of the numbers and the team that puts them together, to tell me. So
right.
He just said stand by. So if that comes through, I'll let you know. But I can tell you this from our survey, what we found, Mike, is something just heartening. I don't want to say it's remarkable. It's like, yeah, okay, if you really thought about it, that probably would happen. But it's heartening. It's good news. There was, and this is not the big survey we did. This is a monthly panel that we do. So this is the results for the November monthly panel of a couple of hundred advertisers that we do every single month. And this is sort of a benchmarking month to month to month. They just registered a large spike in optimism for next year. I don't want to say it's the largest that we've ever seen because we haven't gone back and looked at all the others yet. But it's like, oh, wow, they're looking, compared to the previous survey, we do a business barometer, twice a year, I believe. Compared to the previous one, wow, they're feeling really good about next year.
All right, so if you don't get us the exact number by the time we're done with this interview, you're basically saying no doom and gloom yet. Relax, take a breath. There was growth. We didn't go down, thank God, because we've had some years where you've showed the downwards trends. And it looks good. It's promising. Now, in the tease you sent out, you said 4 media types set for significant increases. Would you like to release that ahead of the webinar or tease us a little? Can you break down what 4 media types? I can take a guess.
All the news edge out of the webinar.
Yeah, come on, give it to us.
I'll talk generally about what we're seeing. In that are some increases. I think OTT, CTV, any type of video advertising that is distributed digitally is certainly in the mix. That's growing. I think, and here's the zinger, direct mail. Yep. Direct mail is fantastically surprising to all of us because, it's print media. And what we've heard about print media, which is true, it's just really, really, really struggling. So it carries the cost of being printed and physically delivered, which is certainly, a disadvantage over digital.
You always show in every report, if I go back in time, it's still search and social are near the top. Are they still up there? Can I ask you, is that still?
Yeah, they are. We are anticipating in the entire, advertising world is anticipating a pretty steady, maybe not sharp, but steady decline in search. It's way at the top. It's nosebleed levels.
Right.
People spend lots of money on it, and ChatGPT and generative AI, programs like that are going to take the edge off it and other things. That's not showing up in our data. And it's typical because local advertisers lag a little bit. They're not up there with the national advertisers understanding all this new stuff. The one big surprise in it is at the top of the list, beating out social media. There's one category, and it hasn't happened since social media hit the top of the list in terms of usage and effectiveness. Social media has the highest level of advertisers buying it, so more than newspapers, more than radio, more than TV, more than banner ads, etc. Highest, always been up there since the mid 2010, 2011, 2012, when it started, zooming up. Not anymore.
Drum roll.
I have to sign up for the webinar. Events. It's like,
they're back up on
holy
top,
crap.
Huh?
I'm looking at, on simultaneously on December the 12th, we will be starting or kicking off our charts of the week. We do this really, really popular, it drives the most traffic on our website, charts of the week series. We do it twice a year. This is the winter series, 10 charts, over 10 weeks. And this one is the first chart I'm looking at right here. You're the first to see it. Can't even see it, right? But at the top of this chart, it has events and sponsorships as the number one in terms of maybe 20 different types of media that advertisers buy. 56% of them are buying events, sponsored events.
You tease the fact that there's a shift in advertisers' perceptions about media reps' digital competence.
Oh my God, Mike, this is bad.
Okay, this is bad news. Because you're still showing. Let me finish the question. You're still showing a whole mess of trust in local agencies. Is that because we still suck at selling digital? I mean, is their perception of our ability to understand all forms of media still down in the dumps, and we got to train ourselves up more? Is that what you're seeing here?
Yep.
Okay. There it is.
It's disappointing. So, if you're a master at spin, you'll look at the chart, and I've got it in front of we separated, just give me a minute on this and I'll give you all the numbers. We separated the question into marketing savvy. So it says you bought newspaper advertising. How would you rate the marketing savvy of your newspaper rep? And then digital advertising. You said you bought, newspapers or radio or whatever it was, TV advertising. How would you rate the digital savvy of your TV rep? So when you look overall at marketing, radio is at the top. So 36% of those who bought radio listed their radio sales reps as having exceptional marketing savvy. So they're at the top. It beat out TV, which is at 30%, newspapers at 25%, down on less. Oh, hey, that's great. But over the past 4 years, those numbers have declined. I told you radio was 36%, used to be in 2021, 41%. Told you newspapers 25%, so they had exceptional marketing expertise, used to be 30%. So it's declined. The percentage of advertisers rating the reps as having very strong marketing savvy has declined. You want to hear digital?
Yeah.
Oh, this is so sad. The numbers are down roughly 10 to 15 points from, overall marketing savvy. So they, fewer of them think they have, broadcast TV, radio, cable, newspapers, etc. So television, broadcast television, 19% say they have great digital savvy, and they're at the top. They haven't been at the top before. Newspapers typically have. Radio is below them at 19, cable at 19, newspapers at 16. Here's the reverse of that. And this is what's so disappointing. I'm not excited to give you this, but, Phil, I'm a researcher. I need to give you the bad. And that is, we asked, if their sales reps had no marketing savvy and no digital savvy. For newspapers, 1 in 4 advertisers said their newspaper sales reps had no marketing savvy. 1 in 3, 36%, said their newspaper reps had no digital savvy. That's scary. For radio, it was 17% no marketing savvy and 28% no digital savvy. there is clearly work to be done, Mike.
All right, we're getting near the end of this, and we're teasing up that webinar. He's given us some information, folks. We're going to ask him about this. I've been out at a lot of conferences this year, just promoting the E&P brand. I go out there and see other speakers and listen to other pundits. There's a lot of people talking about the death, finally, of broadcast. At least from this side of the industry. Thank God they're going to go through what we went through for the last 10 years. They're about to go under. There's public radio's in trouble. Broadcast TV stations are going to lose that critical automotive and political advertising, finally, which is blowing them up. What are you showing? You had in the spring, I'm looking at the data that we reported on, you had local broadcast TV forecast to grow by 6%. Is linear finally meeting their doom and gloom world, or are you still seeing strong, good old American band? What I was saying, that people that own some spectrum are still going to have a good, strong year. What's going on with that?
So no, I don't see the doom and gloom. I do see struggles. There is, radio and TV advertising in particular are struggling against declining audiences and, further fragmentation. That's an old story. However, there's been doom and gloom, prophesized for just about everything since the internet came along, every type of traditional form of media. And the fact is, there are really good, smart people out there whose livelihoods depend on it, and they're figuring out a way. So broadcast TV is transitioning from ATSC 3.0. They would hate to hear me say they're transitioning from it because they're now whole hog in CTV and OTT and other things. They're getting into podcasting. Radio's getting into podcasting. They are competing heavily with, digital agencies. They're competing with newspapers by starting hyperlocal sites, not only in markets where they have radio stations, but in markets where they don't. So there's a lot of smart people and a lot of activity pushing against this tide. It may be an inevitable tide, but I think the decline will be slower than most people think. I'll just say one other quick thing about broadcast TV. One of the findings we'll discuss in this webinar on the 12th is the surprise in the effectiveness of broadcast TV. Ratings are very, very high for broadcast TV. And in the number of advertisers saying that they're going to increase their budgets or come back where they haven't broadcast TV because, political advertising crowded out the airwaves in 2025. So it's exhibiting a little bit of strength against that ebbing tide.
All right, so we're going to shut this thing down now. First of all, to our audience, we didn't get as much out of him as we wanted, but we're going to report on the findings of that webinar once he gets his chance to shine on his own. And we just doubled your audience, Gordon, so you owe me a commission on that.
Thank you very much.
There you go, because this audience is just going to, just sign up in droves for your way. We're going to report on it because you're going to let us report on that once you release it, right? We can get the story out. But in the meantime, you've got now, I'm going to give you exactly 1 minute, do the elevator pitch, give us the teases of what, if I go to this webinar, what amazing data will I learn that will help me grow my news industry, media industry business? What do you got? Go ahead. And
well, we just discussed some of it, so let me put it into action. If I'm telling you 1 in 4 advertisers believe that your sales reps have no marketing savvy, that's a big warning sign. And that means even if you have a training program, maybe it sucks. Test it out. Advertisers have a lot of questions about marketing. They don't wake up and say, I think I'll buy some radio advertising. I think I'll buy some newspaper advertising. They'll say, wake up and go, I wonder whether I should advertise on Threads. It seems to be a bigger audience now that everybody's leaving X and Twitter has kind of collapsed.
How come I saw that local bakery on Hulu? What's going on here?
Yeah.
That guy's just right down the street from me. He can't have a bigger advertising budget than me. I just saw him while I was watching this rerun of Mad Men. You know what I mean? This is where the world's at now, right? They're just saying, what the hell's going on, correct?
Yeah, your sales reps can't fool the advertiser by saying, oh yeah, tell me about all the problems. I think I can come up with a solution, say a newspaper rep. And guess what the solution is? Newspaper advertising. No, they have to have more arrows in the quiver. So that's one thing. I think the other is, think of events. Why is that? Events and social media are at the top of the list. You're involved in those two and trying to, get advertisers to gain a voice out there. They're both actually the same. Events are the live version of social media. Social media is the virtual version of events. It's a gathering of large amounts of people. And advertisers have gotten kind of sick of social media, even though they're still supporting it and say it's effective. They want to get out and shake some hands. So I think, those are things that you need to think about. And in particular, I'm just going to go back on, if your rep is perceived as being somebody who sells your product and that's it, you're in trouble. That's not what the advertisers want. Somebody's going to steal your business.
There you go. Gordon Borrell, once again, if anyone wants to attend this webinar on Thursday, do yourself a favor and go to Borrell Associates .com and click on the link to register, or just search for Borrell Associates on Google. You'll find the Facebook page or the LinkedIn page where you can register as well. Gordon, we're looking forward to getting something more out of you on this study and releasing it to our audience. But as always, we appreciate your valuable time. Thanks so much.
Thank you, Mike.